Peace and blessings to you all. This is a new day for you, and I am Dr. Raul Richardson, and you already know, quite thrilled, excited, and so very delighted to be with you all one more time again. So shout outs to all our loyal listeners. We've got a remarkable bevy of guests joining us this morning to start this New Year's program off. I've been telling our loyal listeners for some time now that I had so many interviews scheduled for 2024, and you folks are leading the way on our maiden voyage. So welcome to a new day for you. We're so thrilled that you took the time to be with us. We've got the wonderful, remarkable women of Delta, Zeta, Theta. How do I say that now?
Delta
Sigma,
Theta
Theta. I didn't want to say
Sorority
Delta, Sigma,
Incorporated.
Zeta. I knew that I better get that DST right.
Correct.
Plus Keisha and them would never forgive me, plus all the other beautiful women of DST. And joining us is Ms. Charmaine Watson and Ms. Miranda Holloway Baggett. And they have provided an introduction to another remarkable individual joining us, Mr. Michael Ledger. So let's start off with the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta to tell us what has prompted us to be together and what wonderful and interesting news they want to share with us today.
Well, thank you. I am Miranda Holloway Baggett. I am the president of the Baldwin County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. And what brings us here is our Alabama State Cluster, where we will have over 1,000 members of our wonderful sorority coming into the Mobile area for a time of fun, fellowship, and learning the Delta way. And also, when we do programs such as this, we partner, and we are excited to announce that we are partnering with Feeding the Gulf Coast. So that's what brings us here today.
Wonderful. And I tell you, one of the things that I really enjoy about the beautiful women of Delta Sigma Theta is their level of civic engagement relative to the community. So I'm really interested in this Feeding the Gulf Coast partnership. But if I remember correctly, now you guys, I'm not certain, are you from the Mobile alumni, Baldwin County alumni?
From both. So Mobile Alumni Chapter, they are the host chapter. And since we are right across the bay, Baldwin County, we are the co-host.
Okay.
In Baldwin and Escambia County, yes.
All right, so that really makes an effective collaboration with Feeding the Gulf Coast.
Yes.
All right, good. So let's talk about this Alabama State Cluster and the organization and what you're trying to accomplish. Because from what I understand, it's going to be a 3-day meeting. Is that correct?
It's a 3-day meeting, and I will let Charmaine take it over from here.
Okay, please, Charmaine, tell us all about it.
Yes, it is. All right. Yeah, thank you. I'm Charmaine Watson. I'm representing the Mobile Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, where we are the co-hosting along with the Baldwin County alumni. Now, Mobile alumni, I am just the coordinator of the community service event. Our president is the illustrious and the beautiful Dr. Roxanne Haddon Odom. I am in just again to represent the community service portion of the state cluster. It is a 3-day event, and it is planned for February the 16th through the 18th. And we have already gotten started. Because we are partnered with Feeding the Gulf Coast, we are not only collecting canned goods, but we are also collecting monetary donations for the Feeding the Gulf Coast organization. This is something that we met as a committee, where I am the chair of that committee, and we pondered along what we were going to do, but we decided on Feeding the Gulf Coast because it's one that we've partnered with many times. And with this, we are able to help a multitude of people, not just the kids, not just the elderly, but everyone. So we are taking the opportunity to work with Feeding the Gulf Coast and help them achieve their goals.
All right, that sounds remarkable. So with this track record of collaboration, Mr. Ledger, these ladies have identified and sought out Feeding the Gulf Coast to do some more remarkable work, what we call doing good in the hood. So tell us a little bit about the Feeding the Gulf Coast component and how this collaboration has gone so far, and what things, if any, you have in terms of expectation for the upcoming event.
Well, first of all, it is a real honor and a privilege to be, asked to partner with them. Obviously, there's a lot of folks out there doing a lot of good work, and anytime that someone picks Feeding the Gulf Coast to team with, we take that as a great privilege, and one that we want to try to honor by continuing the good works and putting whatever collaboration that they're offering to the greatest impact. Feeding the Gulf Coast, we serve 24 counties along the Gulf Coast in some of the most, I would say, the hungriest counties in the country. And to have partnerships like this is critical because we couldn't do the work we do without support like this. We were able to distribute a record number of pounds in 2023, just closed 37 million pounds of food. That equates to approximately
37 million pounds of food.
Yes.
Holy
And
cow.
a lot of people look at the distribution of that, which is the team here does an amazing job. It's sometimes in Rubik's Cube to figure out every day. But what they don't often think of is we have to find the 37 million pounds of food first. And so with partners like this, partnerships like this, efforts like this, all of these things add up cumulatively to this kind of awesome impact. And we couldn't do it without the kind of partnership this is offering us.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I tell you, I've been familiar with Feeding the Gulf Coast. And obviously, even before the pandemic, the urban food deserts and things of that sort really brought into the attention that so many people across our communities were struggling with food insecurity. But I don't think I was aware of the fact that Feeding the Gulf Coast covered 34 counties.
24 counties,
24 counties.
22,000 square miles.
22,000 square miles with
That's right.
37 tons of food, too. I mean, that's remarkable. You needed to partner with somebody like the Deltas to get all of that done.
That's
That
absolutely
sounds
right. Yeah,
unbelievable.
it would be impossible without partnerships like this. And
Okay.
you know, and it's literally true. It could not be
Literally,
without
right?
partnership
Literally
like that.
true.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I tell you this. Okay, so you guys at Delta Sigma Theta have identified an awesome partner. What are you calling for from Feeding the Gulf Coast, from your own membership? And what, if anything, if there are some of our loyal listeners out there of A New Day for You, might you want to tell to our audience about mechanisms, protocols, processes, distribution points, et cetera, dates and times that they can contribute to this worthwhile work?
Yes, well, we are calling on all of our chapter members and with all of our members that are coming from across Alabama, traveling from all over the state of Alabama, coming into Mobile, we are also charging those members to bring as many of the non-perishable items that can fit in their vehicles along with their luggage, right? To bring here with them. We are calling out, our sponsors and community partners that we also partner with to also bring things to the convention center. That is where the our state cluster will be held at the Mobile Convention Center, to bring all of those items, as many as you can bring there. So that is what our call to action is, to bring what you can bring there. We are also doing, we call it the collegiate closet. And that is where we're asking all of our members, we're all educated professional women, and we know that we have things in our closets, gently used items to bring, blouses, dress slacks, suits to bring, so that we can help our collegiate members when they get ready to enter into the workforce, go to interviews. So we are asking our members to also bring gently used items from their closets.
Okay, all right, that's remarkable. That's so cool that you're doing all that. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. I
Also want to jump in on that a little bit.
Sure. What you got?
Yes, we are asking our members to bring the non-perishable food items. We also have a QR code to make monetary donations. Now, you don't have to be a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated to give a donation. So we would invite them. They can go to our website at the mobilealumnidst.org. That's mobilealumnae.org. That is .com, excuse me, .com, DST.com, mobilealumnidst.com. And we will also have the QR codes on our personal websites, the Mobile and Baldwin County. Sarah Baggett, would you please give yours? And that way, if you want to join us, you can also do your part as well. It's nothing like doing community service.
Well, I'm so glad you shared that, because I want to make certain that Queen Candace has these materials and items as well, because from my understanding, we're going to be sharing some of this via our social media platforms as well. And clearly I'll do likewise. You can be sure of that. Miss Oh, you're welcome. I tell you though, girl, you both of you, I'm having really a good time with all of you. For those of you that are unfortunately relegated to just the audio component of A New Day for You here on Contentville, you are missing out because these folks have so much energy radiating off of the screen. I mean, they're making my job real easy. Actually, for a minute there, I thought Miss Charmaine Watson was just going to audition for an on-air personality space. To be
mean, we're
actually doing her
not?
own show. She could do it, couldn't she, Michael? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Believe it or not, I'm nervous. So just wonder if I really let my hair down.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And I thought that I was the kind of character that actually put people so at ease that their nervousness just dispels, you know, I mean, just
You are
dissipates.
doing an awesome job. I mean, you really are. But I mean, I think that's just the uncertainty and just don't know. So that's what made the nervousness. But everybody is cool and calm on here. I'm about to relax.
All right, well,
Right.
you get relaxed, all right, because we are feeling wonderful. And I'm so grateful for you guys sharing all this news and information. So let's talk a little bit about because you said the Mobile Convention Center, and I just want to make sure that we're absolutely clear for our loyal listeners. When we talk about the Mobile Convention Center, we're not talking about the Civic Center. We're talking about the location on Water Street, which is otherwise
Yes,
known as the Arthur Outlaw Convention Center right on Water Street.
correct. I think that is 1 South Water Street is the address.
That's correct, right across from the RSA Tower.
Yes.
And that's a great location. And what is the date and time of the event in terms of the collection and distribution, and how is all of this happening? Because you got 3 days of activities going on here.
We do have 3 days of activity, and we're going to get started on February the 16th at 12 o'clock. We will start our registration. However, our donation of the non-perishable food items, we will be doing a live presentation around 4:30 on the 16th, that Friday. That's what we've already started collecting. So we're collecting items right now as well as getting donations. So we will do a live check presentation at that time, but that don't mean you stop giving then. We're going to continue that on through the end of the week. So the QR code will be available past the time we do the check presentation. And we will be collecting the food items prior to, and on that day, we plan to donate in the carts that's provided by Feeding the Gulf Coast. But if you still have something you may want to drop off, we'll take that as well.
Wow. So if I'm understanding this correctly, and I want to make sure I got this right, you guys going to have places where people can drop off stuff even before the actual date of the 16th. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is correct. We are accepting items at our CLDC Center, which is the Delta Sorority House in Mobile on MLK, right next to the fire department. That's the easiest way to give it an address on
Okay. So right
MLK.
off of MLK Boulevard.
Yes.
Okay,
So
good,
you
good.
can drop off things at the CLDC Center, and we will take them down to the convention center ourselves.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's all vital. And I tell you, for those of you that are just joining us, you're listening to A New Day for You with me, Dr. Raoul Richardson, and the remarkable Charmaine Watson and her soror, Miranda Holloway Baggett. And we're joined by Mr. Michael Ledger. And Michael, I wanted to kind of kick it to you just for a moment, if I could, because you shared the vastness of the territory in terms of the geographic region that Feeding the Gulf Coast covers with 24 counties and 22,000 miles. But I really wanted to talk a little bit about so our listeners can get a better understanding, because unless you are suffering or struggling with some of the changes that are currently impacting so much of our society, not just here locally or even domestically, but globally, let's talk a little bit about, and if you would, in your experiences, your background and knowledge, describe the hunger issue in Mobile and Baldwin counties so that people can get a little bit better sense of the needs for sensitivity, awareness, and empathy as it relates to taking action to respond to it in a way that you do on a daily basis.
Yes, given that I'm in Mobile County as I speak, and many of our team members live in Mobile and Baldwin counties, we are very intimate with what we see and how the need evolves in these two areas. It's something I can say from before I got into this work. I was in the private sector, and I abstractly understood that there was hunger in this country. But honestly, until I really looked under the hood and got into this work, you just can't appreciate how much it exists throughout every community. You mentioned earlier urban food deserts, and I think that alone is a concept that most people are not aware of, and it's really maybe hard for some folks to get their head wrapped around. But the idea that you could be in an otherwise what looks to be an urban area, but still not have access to healthy foods. And so there's, of course, the struggle of being in an economic position to actually afford food. But for some people, it's not just that. It's also the fact that there's, within a reasonable distance of travel, they can't get access to it. And of course, nutrition isn't just about having food. It's about having food that will be nutrient dense and allow you to be healthy. There's extreme examples of people that practically starve on, something like a Twinkie. That's just not going to help you survive. So we're really focused on both in our rural areas and in Mobile and Baldwin County. They're interesting counties because there are some very densely populated areas, but then there are also some very low density areas, very rural areas. And so both these counties present unique challenges within the county themselves. So our approach is to try to find partners or partner agencies out there, our child nutrition programs, our SNAP benefits departments, and many of the other things, our health and nutrition departments, to try to make sure that we're not focused, siloed just into an urban area or just in a rural area, but that we're dynamic and we're looking at the hunger across the strata of all populations, and trying to make sure that the underserved are being served.
Well, I am so glad you shared that. There's so much information just in that few moments there. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for the beautiful women of Delta Sigma Theta undertaking this and then finding such a worthwhile partner like Feeding the Gulf Coast to assemble this project and meet this need. And I'm really grateful. As a scientist, I'm particularly grateful for the fact that you mentioned this idea of, the density of nutrients within the context of the food groups. This is not something that's just new to me relative to the importance of what we're trying to accomplish within this moment, or even within the context of the pandemic for that matter. I think that there was, I've started my own gardening initiatives at the start of the pandemic because I was concerned about the quality of fruits and vegetables that I was picking up. They would be in the house after I wash them and refrigerate them 24 hours, they're beginning to go bad. And now I grow all my own fruits and vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, squash. Right now in the middle of the winter crop season, so we've got cabbage, collards, broccoli, kale, mustard greens, just bunches of them. But the reason this is important, what you said, is because people are buying groceries, but they're not necessarily aware of the nutrient value and quantity and content of those elements. And as a result, they may be eating more food, but not necessarily getting the type of nutrients they need to be healthy and well. And that starts with even what I call the dirt, which of course I'm frequently reminded that plants don't grow in dirt, they grow in soil. And if the soil is not rich and vibrant and has the necessary amendments to produce the niacin and the calcium and potassium and all the other elements, then the vegetables don't bring it up and then produce it for us as we prepare it. So I think there's a level of education that fits right in between Feeding the Gulf Coast and the women of Delta Sigma Theta, because I know their involvement in the community and the importance of educating people and making them more keenly aware of their dietary choices and what they represent. So thank you for sharing that. Ladies, if I could kick it back to you one time here, you've got a lot going on. Obviously, we're talking about Feeding the Gulf Coast. We're talking about urban food deserts and people not having enough money to acquire and purchase food and groceries. And we know that during the pandemic, a lot of schools continue to provide lunch services, even though students weren't necessarily, entering into the facilities and buildings that were across the school districts, because we know how important it is for a young person to get breakfast in the morning and then have lunch. And for some of those kids that are in our community, not attending school meant that they were missing a meal. So all of this stuff is important, not to mention, mothers that are nursing and newborn babies. And part of it, I guess I want to let you ladies speak to, is to remove the obstacle of fear in the minds of people of our community that are concerned that they don't want no one to know that they're struggling, that they're having a difficult time. And the fact of the matter is, more people are struggling than you could imagine. And our ability to be keenly aware and empathetic and kind to them, to those folks, means that it's an opportunity where we can receive that kindness and love in turn. So I wanted you guys to maybe speak to that from the perspective of Delta.
Yes, and that is one of the things, whenever Delta was founded 1913, January 13th, 1913, we were created rooted from, service, from physical and mental health. That's one of the things that falls under our 5 programmatic thrusts: physical and mental health, that is making the communities in which we serve aware of the nutritional things that were mentioned, healthy eating, and we want to be able to get that message out to our communities. We can understand the fear of not wanting people to know, but we as Deltas make sure that our communities are safe with us. You know, we pride ourselves also on confidentiality, and to let the members know that, or the community know, that they can trust us, you know, that they can talk to us. So that's why I think that it's important that we continue to stay out in the community and continue to let them know all of the services that we provide and the organizations that we partner with, what they provide. So you have us, and then you have all of the other organizations that we can link them up with to also receive these services that they need.
That's fantastic.
If I
No,
could
go ahead,
comment,
Michael.
you know,
Sure.
you were talking about people, you know, being willing to seek help. And I think one of the things that is most inspiring about this work, and there's so many facets to it that are inspiring, but a lot of the times the people that are volunteers today, they're the ones that are in here sorting food for us, packing senior boxes out in the hot parking lot, passing out food. You know, those were folks themselves that were in a line at one point. And so I think acknowledging that, you know, because you need some help today, it doesn't have to be a static thing. It's, you know, our job, and I think she was touching on this, is that we can offer the wraparound services. And as I have on my wall over here, my marker board, end hunger every day. I mean, the idea is to nourish you today, tomorrow, as long as you may need. But we hope for most people, we're going to be able to have some small role in getting you out of the line, back on your feet. And those same people are the ones that are the most dedicated to come out in the rain to pass out food, because they at one point were themselves in that line. So I think understanding that life can knock us all down from time to time, being willing to embrace that, and then when you have the opportunity, you know, give back. So just trying to emphasize the fact that people should be willing to seek that help when that help is necessary.
Wow, that's remarkable. You know, one of the things that I want to encourage you folks to tune in and listen to me every Saturday morning, or any of the other remarkable on-air personalities that we have on Inspire You on the Air. But my hook typically is to always talk about that this program is always, always, always all about love. And what I hear in all of that is that those individuals that may unknowingly found themselves in a circumstance where they needed the benefit and assistance of an organization like the Delta Sigma Thetas and the Feeding the Gulf Coast. And then it's by virtue of their testimony, they become a witness to that love, that experience, that sharing, that caring, and that giving that now affords them the opportunity to give back. But before, we only have about 5 minutes left, but I wanted to talk about something else. One, I want to come back to you, Michael, in just a moment, to talk about some of the things that are coming down the pipeline that Feeding the Gulf Coast is going to be involved with in 2024 that we might want to be keenly aware of. And I want to offer you ladies from Delta Sigma Theta the same opportunity to talk about other community engagements and involvements that you have coming down the pipe that we might want to let people know about, and to give them a broader perspective of all of the things that you're involved with in the community and what your local chapters are doing. So if you two would start that up, and then I'll come back to Michael and let him talk about what Feeding the Gulf Coast has coming on for 2024.
Okay. One of the things that Baldwin County Alumni Chapter is doing that's coming down the pipeline is we do scholarships to our high school students in Baldwin and Escambia County. We send out the applications to our school counselors, and that gives seniors and that high school an opportunity to submit an application for scholarships. As our members will receive the scholarships, go over them, you know, conduct interviews, and then we select students from each school to provide them with a scholarship. So that's one of the things that we have coming down. Not only do we do scholarships, we also do things with our senior citizens in our community. So we provide services at the Daphne Civic Center for our seniors. We participate in a whole lot of different activities that's going on across Baldwin County. But what's coming down the pipeline now are students, please, or parents listening, your students attend any schools in the Baldwin or the Escambia areas, have them to go to that school counselor's office to receive that application, and please submit for it.
Beautiful. Academic scholarships and everything. You're talking about really giving. That's wonderful. Did you want to chime in something, Ms. Watson?
Yes, also Mobile Alumni Chapter, we're also giving out scholarships as well because we are mentoring different groups and age groups of individuals. We have our Delta Gyms, our Delta Academy. We are not doing Embody right now, which is usually for our young men, but there's a lot of other Divine Nine male organizations that has really embraced the young men these days. So we kind of step back and let the men take care of the young men. But we do have several scholarships. We have a scholarship cotillion program where the girls that participate in that program will get scholarships, along with other scholarships provided through the Mobile County public and private school system. Anybody in Mobile County can apply for those. And it's a minimum of $10,000 worth of scholarships that are given out from Mobile Alumni Chapter.
Wow,
We
minimum
also
of $10,000 scholarships. That's lovely.
It's multiple scholarships now. It's multiple scholarships, but they
Mhm.
can apply for those, even for local scholarships at Bishop State Community College as well. So we are doing the scholarship programs. Now, we do have a financial fortitude program that's going on right now with the community. We have involved a lot other churches and people in the community themselves to be more aware of their personal finances and help them develop a plan and to succeed in their personal finances.
I love that. I
Physical and
love
mental
that.
health. I know we got a lot of stuff going on in Mobile. We have a lot of stuff going on in Mobile. We have over 300 members in our chapter here in Mobile. So you can go to our website where if you're going to give your donation, you can also check out the things that we have going on locally. Again, at mobilealumnidst.com.
Okay, before I forget, I got to do a shameless self-plug, okay? Because I have attended, isn't it the Deltas that do the peppermint?
Jazzy, yes, we do.
Yeah,
That's coming
yeah,
up.
yeah.
We
And
use
for
that.
some reason, my regular Delta friends, I saw it on social media. I have not received a ticket, information, promotion, or anything. And I've been going to that
We
event for
still
years.
working it out. We don't give up on us. We still working that
Well,
out
no,
because
now we
see,
done made a connection. So I'm expecting
oh,
you two to deliver the
okay,
goods, okay? All right, so
yes.
I can be there, you know. I
Uh,
mean, I love that event. And you know, I wanted to place this as a thought to all of you as well, because I heard it in my spirit when you said it about lightly used clothes and things of that sort. Because I've done a lot of work with formerly incarcerated people that are returning citizens trying to come back to community. And we have developed, you know, we've got a chaplaincy at the Metro Jail, and we've got this kind of a learning program to connect them with job training and then do advocacy with them for employers that because we in the state of Alabama have not provided legislation yet relative to banning the box, that doesn't mean that people can't apply and be immediately eliminated from consideration simply because they checked that they had a previous felony conviction. So between
Right.
that and getting people to recognize that they can have their records expunged, that they can get their voting rights restored, and they can get the kind of training that pays a living wage. And we know when people come out of prison, they don't have anything. They don't have any health insurance. They have no ID. They've got to pay probation officials, which find a way to get to probation. And unfortunately, typically a lot of times their family's so traumatized by whatever criminality they were involved with, they don't want them back. So now they have a housing concern in terms of homelessness and things of that sort. But I love the idea of being able to kind of like stockpile clothing and items that a family may need that don't necessarily have the economic resources to be able to go and acquire those. And interestingly enough, this morning I was talking to someone who apparently was a firefighter in some segment of the community that was injured, a volunteer firefighter, and they were battling a blaze and someone's home got destroyed. And the family was so grateful for all of the outpouring of gifts from the community because they lost everything. And now they've received more clothes than they probably had before the fire. So those things are so important. If you're going to have a person that's, you know, leaving some degree of homelessness or incarceration, to be able to get a white shirt or some khaki pants, not to mention to be able to have food to eat, to be able to have the sustenance and nourishment, to be able to perform well if you get to the table for an interview. So I'm grateful for all of those things. And I just wanted to reinforce that for our listeners and to encourage you guys to continue the great work that you're doing. So
Thank you.
it's my pleasure. So that makes you up, Michael. You want to talk a little bit about what remarkable things you've got going on already, but what things that
Yeah.
you're planning for the upcoming next 12 calendar months?
Well, I did want to touch on one thing that we do now, and we're always working to expand, but we're working with folks that are, you know, coming back out of prisons, and we're trying to connect them. Our outreach, SNAP outreach team is there getting them connected. So when they get out, hopefully they've already set up for SNAP benefits. So they have an EBT card. We want to make sure, as you're saying, they don't have a lot. So if that's one small thing that can help them get back on their feet, our team works really hard. And honestly, that's one of my, all of these things are my favorites, but that one in particular, the idea that we can be there with them as they're about to go back into the world and help them through that process and hopefully qualify them for an EBT card is just one of those things that we hope will help launch them back to a successful life. But as far as upcoming, we're going to be running all of our programs. A couple of things that come to mind in particular, summer feeding program is going to be here before we know it. Our team's already going to be starting to wind up those programs. So if you are in Baldwin-Mobile County and you've already worked with us in the summer feeding program, we provide tens of thousands of meals, snacks, breakfasts to these kids through our partners. This is such important work because kids, the cafeteria at school is such an important source of nutrition. When they lose that during the summer, we've actually seen studies where kids lose weight during the summer. And of course, kids that are growing shouldn't be going backwards. And if they miss those certain developmental points, they can't go back and make that up. So our job is to try to ensure that these kids have that nutrition all the year round. So if you're a site that might want to re-partner with us or a site that's thought about partnering with us that could use our help, please reach out to us. That's the one that we really want to make sure we're getting the word out about. Also, if you're just if you're in need, go to our Find Help page button on our feedingthegulfcoast.org. There you can put in your zip code and find one of our partners that will hopefully help you out. We also stood up our new community and health and nutrition department last year. We've always been involved in that state, but we had the opportunity to really consolidate our efforts. And so we have a team of people that are back to that nutrition thing we were talking about. A lot of people were never taught about how to make good decisions what you're going to eat, what you're going to spend your money on. And so we're trying to make sure we're providing that information, that education. So that's a new and exciting thing we're working on. We're working on other kinds of mobile pantries. We've done thousands more than we ever did pre-COVID, and we continue to do that. It takes a lot to for those to continue to happen, but we're even looking at ways to improve that process and expand those efforts. So we're working on that. We've stood up our own senior box program last year, and that's another thing where I feel like we've gone through sort of through our beta test, and now we're rolling that out in even a bigger way. So making sure the two most vulnerable populations that we have are children and seniors. And with inflation, when you're on a fixed income, we've all been through the grocery store and saw what was in our basket for hundreds of dollars. And so we're trying to make sure that those folks, which is why we see the need keep going up, that those folks have that extra support they need. And there's so many other more programs. I know we don't have time for all of them here. But I wanted to at least give a flavor of a couple. And I should mention, if you are interested, we have our Chef's Challenge coming up on May 16th. If you haven't had an opportunity there to come out and support the efforts, we have over 20 chefs, restaurants that come out and make amazing food. There's drink, there's music. So if you want to check that out on our website, feedingthegulfcoast.org, come out to Chef's Challenge and join in the celebration of the work we've done and support the work we're going to do.
Wow. So you had me at food and drinks.
Well, the food last year was absolutely unbelievable. And I think of myself as a foodie, and I was thoroughly impressed. I think everyone else will be too.
Well, I'm now tasking you, Mr. Ledger, with making certain that I'm at that event, much as these wonderful ladies gonna make sure I'm at the Peppermint Bowl, right? I'm gonna be
Yes.
So I'm putting these on my calendar right now. But before I come back, I appreciate you sharing the 2024 calendar. I know it's loaded and packed, but I wanted to do two things before we kind of wrap up today. One, if you would, Michael Ledger from Feeding the Gulf Coast, I'd like you to just share some impactful, maybe statistics that people might not be aware of. People that are struggling with homelessness or food poverty or lack of meals and nutrition or whatever, maybe seniors, young people, et cetera. They have a personal experience. They don't need the statistics. But the people that are within the context of the sound of my voice, our loyal listeners, maybe that'll be a move to action for them if you could share some of that data. And after you share that data, what I'd really like you wonderful ladies to do one more time before we close is provide a stirring rendition of the call to action that you delivered earlier so that we can get people amped up, ready pumped up to go to support this effort and really make the difference in the lives of people in our community. So, Michael, would it be too much if I kind of drop an unplanned bomb on you and ask you to just drop some statistics on our loyal listeners?
Sure. I mean, one statistic that I think is easily understood and impactful. The USDA, the last survey they did, yearly survey they did, showed that there was a 40% increase in hunger from in 22, an increase. That just shows the impact of inflation, post-COVID trauma that that has set some people's world off kilter. And so a lot of things have normalized, but for a lot of people, and folks you might not imagine are faced with these issues, there is just an astounding number, well over 300,000, 350,000, actually over 350,000 people in our area, service area, that are food insecure or facing hunger. And a lot of those are seniors, a lot of those are children, single family homes, parent homes, and it's an awesome number. And 37 million pounds is goes towards it, but it certainly doesn't do all of it, and that's why we continue to strive to increase increase that impact. And the last thing I would say is, a lot of people see hunger maybe one-dimensionally, and I would say that there are people that are dealing with some chronic issues, maybe because societally we have had systemic things that have put people in that cycle. But then we also have at the other end of that folks that their car broke down or they had a serious illness and now they can't pay the rent. We had a mother tell the story, she was in her third trimester and the doctor said she couldn't work anymore, starting her third trimester. Well, she hadn't been in her job long enough to qualify for anything. So she started coming to a pantry. Never thought she'd be there before.
Wow.
Flash forward some months later, she came back to the pantry, having had a healthy baby. She was back to work, and she wanted to thank the pantry and volunteered there to give her thanks back. It just goes to show that it's not just people that are chronically facing hunger. There are people that are in and out of that position in ways you could never foresee: a broken car, an illness. And so the numbers are one thing, but then understanding the dynamic, it's not a monolith. There's all kinds of different ways in which people find themselves in these circumstances. It could be your neighbor.
Amen. Amen. And here on A New Day for You, you already know it's all about love. So I'm so grateful for you sharing that information. And you ladies, come on, Delta Sigma Theta, give us a call to action that's going to get people, up on the floor, out of their seats, mobilized, galvanized to go and do good work in the community. Who wants to start us off?
Yes, indeed. Come on, community. Let's do this. After hearing Mr. Ledger and what he just stated, the call is for everyone, the community, our chapter members, everyone. Please come out, bring your donations, bring your food, your funds, bring all of that so that we can assist our community. What you said about love and partnership. Love and partnership.
Yes,
Partnership is how we make things happen. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ledger, for what you're doing in your organization. We just appreciate this partnership, and we know that people are going to come and show out for the Deltas and for feeding the Gulf Coast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Amen. But we ain't gonna leave you out, Ms. Watson. Come on, bring it on.
I'm just throw some in. We're gonna have an overflow. We're claiming an overflow of those non-perishable food items, along with some monetary donations that will come to you. Come and pick that up on Friday, February the 16th at 4:30. So anybody that want to join and put your 2 cents in and your non-perishable food items, please do it by that time. We would love for you to help us to help them. Thank you.
Beautiful. And as a final note, let's give those websites for the Delta Sigma, Baldwin County, and Mobile County, and for Feeding the Gulf Coast. Any phone numbers you want to share with our loyal listeners, please let us have it now so that folks can make note so that they can participate, give, support, live, and love in our community. So, Mr. Ledger, why don't you start us off with that website?
Yes. feedingthegulfcoast.org. There, if you need help, you can find help. If you want to volunteer, you can find a way to do that. And of course, if you want to donate, you can do that as well. And if you want to learn about all our programs, there's plenty of reading in there. So we encourage you to go check it out.
Amen. All right. Next.
And for Baldwin County alumni, you can find us on all of the social media platforms at Baldwin County Alumni Chapter, Delta Sigma Theta. You can also view our website at baldwincounty.com. Thank you.
You're welcome. And last but not least,
It's the Mobile Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Our website again is Mobile Alumni. That's MobileAlumnaeDST.com is our website. We are on Facebook as well. And let me say, since I am the chair of the community service, if you need to call me, I will pick up your items from you. So I can be reached at 251-604-3719.
could you repeat that?
251-604-3719. And that's for you to give me your non-perishable food items only. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Don't just be
Beautiful.
calling me up.
Well, I'm not calling you. I'm expecting you two to call me with my peppermint problem, okay? And I'm expecting you, young man, to call me
I'm
about.
saying this in love, okay? I'm saying this in love.
Oh, I feel the love.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep everybody on task. That's all I'm
That's
trying to
right.
do.
That's right.
Don't
Everybody.
forget the events.
That's right. Don't
That's
forget
right.
the events. And you know what we did fail to do, folks? And we need to do this before we say goodbye.
What we
Your
do?
sponsors. We need to shout out. If you have any sponsors, we need to shout them out. You want to shout out who some of your sponsors are that are making this event possible? Because, you know, we got to show love to the people that support us and sponsor and all that stuff, you know?
Yes.
Go.
Oh, okay. Oh, that hit me. Yeah, I do, and I have a list, and I will just shout out a few of them. We have Visit Mobile.
All right. David
Commissioner
Clark. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Franklin Healthcare.
Oh, Mr.
Eleanor-
White.
Yes. Eleanor Greek Specialties.
Ooh, love it.
Smile Center.
Yes.
We have Representative Barbara Drummond.
Oh, my buddy.
Brown Mortuary.
Yes, CJ.
Carol Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do Reese's Funeral Home.
Reese's, love it.
Yes. New Spire.
Inspire You.
Inspire
the new beat
You.
of the
Yes,
Bay.
it was on the I was reading, yeah. And then we have Commonwealth Bank, Bishop State.
Oh, yes, yes.
I can go
Sidney
on
King
and on.
General
So
Cooper.
many.
All right. Those are all my
Yes.
friends. Nicely
I'm
done.
sorry?
I said those are
Yes.
all my friends.
Yes, and we have several more. I couldn't mention them all, but we appreciate all of the sponsorships.
And I know they appreciate you, and I want to make sure we showed them love as well. So I
Yes.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you've missed a very special treat. I am Dr. Raul Richardson, and this is A New Day for You, now on Contentville. So join us each and every Saturday morning. I promise you all that we'll be having a bevy of remarkable people sharing news, information, entertainment, obviously today, as well as ultimately inspiration just for you. So ladies, gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you, Mobile Chapter, Baldwin Chapter, DST, Feeding the Gulf Coast. Folks, we thank you. Thank you. Oh, she's shining the diamonds and everything up on the screen, y'all. Well, we may have to put this video up on my YouTube channel so everybody can see this. You guys look fantastic. Don't shake your head and say no. You look marvelous, okay? But I
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
Thank
the
you
pleasure
so
is
much for
mine.
allowing us.
We appreciate it.
I told you we were going to enjoy ourselves, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you did.
Absolutely. So you guys just hold on one moment. We're going to take a pause for the cause, and then I'll be right back.